Hey guys, it's time for what we made in March. I'm a couple days behind. Today is the 5th, I believe. It's a Saturday. It's been a busy month. I did a little mini check-in in the middle of it if you want to check that out on my TikTok. But let's just get going. So at the beginning of the month, I was all about babies. I am in the process of making a baby blanket for a friend. So I went ahead and experimented with some hats. So these ones are made with just acrylic. And then this one is made with a little soft little plushy yarn. But it's actually one I got from the dollar store. I went ahead and wanted to try it out with Joann's clothing. I figured to branch out and kind of experiment with some things that are kind of inexpensive. Because sometimes you don't really have the money to get things that you want to get. So gotta keep crafting. But I made several of these. I think I made what? 2, 4, 6, 7? Yeah, 7. And they all just look like that. I did make little cardigans to match 2 of the hats. Now let me show you those. So we've got a cute little baby cardigan. And once again, this is also made with the Dollar Tree yarn. This was the first one I made, and that's part of the reason why I picked it up, because I was like, this way, test my things, test it out with the dollar stuff, so that way if it didn't work out so well. And it turned out really stinking cute. And I just did a single crochet up the back, not the normal, I don't even know what to call that, the joining stitch you normally do on the hexagons. And then I did another one. This one is blue and gray, also with Dollar Tree yarn. And I still need to weave in the ends. But this one I did with a slip stitch up the back. So I was trying to see which one I liked better, because I felt like the slip as you go method, or not slip as you go, the join as you go method might have been too loose to where a little baby moving around might have, made stuff slip out. But other than that, I did on the same. And it was 8 rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 8 rows, hexagons. And I used a 5mm hook. And a baby is going to be getting this little set already. My niece's boyfriend's sister, tongue twister there, baby's at be having a baby, so she wanted that for that. And then this one, I went ahead and did this hat a little differently and did it to go with that. So that was the beginning of the month where I was all about the babies. And then I got to hat making. And I made, it's a little early. Ooh, and apparently I got to weave in those ends. I totally forgot about that just now. But I had made a little pride bucket hat. And this is made with cotton, lily of sugar, and cream. Just like my normal bucket hat. Just on the top and bottom, I added the white to make it more like a rainbow. Because, got to be about the pride. So we made that. And then I also made some cat beanies. And I tried something new to where I did the ribbing with the front post, back post. And then I just used, oh, my camera's falling. Let me fix that. All right, so I used all-in-one granny square yarn, so that way it would have the changing effect and I wouldn't have to weave in so many ends. Because, to be honest, we all hate that. So I try my best to use multicolor where I can. But I made several of them. So I got this red one, this blue one, and I went ahead and this is also all-in-one. This one I really like. I think it's called Pop Culture. It's one of my favorite color runs. And then this one, I was thinking of Packers or St. Patty's. Like, it just seemed like a good little set to try. And set those aside. So those are all the hats I made. This month, I didn't really keep track of how many I made all month. Because it's kind of tedious to keep, because I was keeping track of it on my phone. So I went ahead and I just didn't keep track of the amount of items. But I think I did pretty good this month, too. And I also experimented with a car hanging plant. Obviously, I did not use a pattern for this. Otherwise, it would be much prettier. But I experimented and I might make more in the future after I fine tune a couple of things. But I got a new car, one of the new things I did in March, and this sparked doing something for the car, which leading to the new car, I decided to crochet some of those headrest things, little covers. I cannot think of it. Headrest covers. There is a set that I made that's already in my car. And if you follow me on TikTok, you'll see pictures of that. But I also made a bunch of others. Because the one that's in my car is made with a cotton acrylic blend. And then these ones here are actually going to be made all with acrylic. And before I did the acrylic one, I went ahead and did the research. Just make sure that they would not get hurt in the car. And basically, because acrylic's made with plastic, so you don't want things to overheat in the car, melt, anything like that. So in my research, it said that the car not necessarily the car, but I'm using the car as an example, needs to be above 200 degrees, long period of times and repeatedly. So, and then at that point, what the acrylic yarn would do is it will weaken, it won't melt. So I think we're okay. Just if you're in high temperatures and you choose to use acrylic, just be mindful of if you notice anything that's off with it, then take it out of the car. But if you are in like lower temperature areas, you'll be fine. Because I think the highest temperature my car has been like 150, 140-ish whenever I've gotten in. But that's just in my area, so that's just something to keep in mind. But I also want to make a bunch of these with cotton. I gotta find a perfect cotton blend. These were a bunch of, I had the colors, I wanted to play with them and I experimented. But I made a bunch. So my first set that I'm going to show you is a Jack and Sally. So if you flip it around, they're like that. And you flip them back around, they're like that. But I did 8 rounds. And then I just single crocheted around the edges. And then at the corners, where normally you square it off, I didn't. I just kept single crocheting all the way around. So the edges are a little rounded. And then I left the bottom open. And then when I got to the end here, I just did a single crochet all the way around and then closed it up. But this should fit most headrest. Like you slide up, it can stretch or it can not stretch. But that's one of the reasons why I liked acrylic, because it has more stretch than the cotton. So I'm trying to find a high cotton blend like the one I put in my car, but that the one I got in my car is a more expensive one. So if I had to sell them, I would sell them for more, and I'm trying to keep things more cost effective. But I did sets of these. So I did one set of this one, and then this one I actually made 2 sets, because this is one that I'm going to sell. And then my sister, I was telling her what I was making, and she requested this color wave. So I made 2 sets, one for her, and then one further to sell. Which, in my pictures that I'm posting up about those, I didn't want to put these on the headrest to take the picture. So the picture, I'm actually using the ones that I'm giving to my sister as my picture that are actually on the headrest, because I don't want them to come pre-stretched. I don't want them to, look wonky when you put them on yours. So that's kind of the idea there. And then this one, I made another set where they look like this. But then I ran out of, so if you go through Michael's and get the Loops and Threads multicolor, this, and then this side on both here, is all one skein of yarn. I thought I'd be able to get both panels and then do the stitch around in the green. And that is not what happened. So I had to adjust. And I completely undid one row on one panel because I already had the panel done. And then just because I barely got into my last row on this last panel here. So I was like, okay, so I'm definitely not going to make it around. So I undid a couple things because I wanted them to be matching. So the goal was to have both sides looking like this. And I had to adjust and add a row of the green on both of these to make a match. So that's another set. And then my favorite color is teal, obviously. So I've got a set of these, which I might make another one. I'm already in the process. So I have a couple of these like have one side of this made, and we'll see if we get any more done. Because on the 8th of April, which is my birthday, I'm doing a sale on my Etsy shop. So the things that I make don't always make it onto the site because I also sell in person when I can. So the things that are either left over or things that I recently made, I try to get some to the site. But I'm kind of bad about that. So I'm going to be posting a bunch of bucket hats and then those car headrests and then possibly the cat beanies. So far, both those Hexy Baby cardigans are already spoken for. So those are already sold. And that's part of the thing too, is I have coworkers, I have friends, family, that buy things from me. Like, the baby blanket that I'm making is for a coworker. Which that one's a gift. I wouldn't sell blankets only because if I actually sold blankets, I don't know if anybody want to buy it because blankets are very tedious for me. And I'm one of those people that get that, I guess you call it dopamine from finishing a project. So as soon as I finish one of these, I'm stoked because I got a finished product. So I like items to where I can finish them quickly. So, and I'll tend to have more of the smaller projects versus the bigger ones, which this month is definitely a bigger project month because I'm in the process of working on a cardigan, like adult sized, and that baby blanket. And then I'm going to probably be knocking out some more bucket hats because with summer coming, I'm trying to get more bucket hats done. But I also made some bags. And, oh, I almost forgot. I made, well, hopefully you didn't see my butt there. I'll have to see. So if it gets a little cropped out at the end there, that's why. I've rather wearing shorts. But this is a slouchy beanie. So it's like the other beanies that I made, but it's better for the, like if you have a lot of hair, if you have dreads, if you just like the more slouchy, loose look, it's a little more slouchy. But it's basically just like my other beanies that I make, that I was inspired by Chibi Wee Crochet. I just extended out my rows before I went to the ribbing. And then I also made 2 bags. So one of them is just this little pouch here. I went ahead and I didn't have any buttons available. So I made my own. So I just made a circle, attached it, and then I chained, and then you put it around. The chain should have made it shorter. So I may adjust that because there you go, that's perfect. But I had to hold it down for it to. But this is the first time I made a bag like this. So I definitely may try this again because this is 3 granny squares. And then you make your strap, which I used that chain look that I also got from Chibi Wee Crochet. And I also made this bag, which the chain is the same way. This one turns out really cool because it's multicolor on that one. Which I guess the other one is too, but it doesn't look as cool as that one. This one, because that one had more of just one color. But this, let me look at the bottom, is a square granny square. And then at, I think it's 6 rows, I stopped making a square and then just went all the way around my granny stitches. And it turns it into a bag. And then when I was done, I just chained and added this to the top because it went all the way up with a granny stitch. And then when I got up here, I think I did like 10 rows up, however tall you want to make it. And then I did a row of double crochet and then finished it off with single crochet and then added this through the double crochet so I can cinch it. And I still want to add a bead onto the end here so I can use the bead to push up. But I didn't see any around that I like, so I have to actually pick that up from the store. And then the strap is on there. So you could do it like this, have it on. Or I made it to where it's long enough to where you can put it over. And then it fits just like that. So those are the items I made this month. And yeah, like that's That was quite a bit. Those headrest covers take a lot of time because let's see, it's for each set, it's 4 granny squares. So these take a lot of time, which is where I'm having a dilemma on how much to price them for, because they're simple, but they take time. So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun for the month of March, and I have some plans for the month of April. So hopefully it all goes well and I'm able to make some cool things, which I'm sure I will, because I pretty much think everything that I make is pretty cool because you make them with your hands. And even when they're not perfect and you're not going to sell them and you're just going to keep them for yourself or give them as gifts, they come out cool and fun. And it's a cool addiction to have because, yeah, which I'm so sad about Joann closing because that has been my main store for all of my stuff, which is one of the reasons why I also wanted to play around with this stuff, because these are all made with loops and threads yarn, which is from Michael's, and it works. I mean, it's thick like Red Heart, but soft like the Big Twist which is from Joann's. So, I mean, it's not the worst, and it's okay. It's not too expensive, which I don't have a ton of money, and I try to not spend too much money on my yarn unless it's a piece that I'm making for somebody that either I'm okay with paying that price myself, or they're paying me to make them something. I tend to keep my yarns pretty inexpensive for that reason. I would like to find more not just cost effective, but environmentally friendly yarns. So I'm experimenting with like maybe going to the thrift store and either finding old blankets there and maybe turning those into shrugs, or possibly picking up some sheets or something and making my own yarn that way, like t-shirt yarn. I don't know, there's a lot of things that go in my head. And with us coming up on summer, I'm not going to be wanting to make blankets and cardigans and all these things that are bigger. So I'm definitely trying to knock out some bigger things now before we get too warm. But with that being said, I think I'm going to end the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a fun April. And I will see you next month. And thank you. Comment below if you have any questions or suggestions for anything. Thank you. Bye.